This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
I come off as a hater. I have to, because I feel like this is the fifth or sixth quarterback that I've came on here talking about being like, yo, why are we overrating him? But we're here again. Because Trevor Lawrence, I feel like, is getting overhyped. Now, where are you at on your Trevor Lawrence hype?
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like, man, a 7. I was moved by the playoff game. You know what I'm saying? I was moved by the second half of the season.
The one he threw 5 interceptions in.
He threw 5 touchdowns too. He threw 5 touchdowns too.
That's cool. That's great. You know, he could fix his own mistakes. That's great. You know what I mean?
Listen, that's the difference between me and you. You are a pessimist. I'm an optimist.
I am an optimist. I'm an optimist. I'm optimistic. But I also saw that man throw 5 interceptions in his best game. Like, can we not? I'm just saying we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that, right? We're gonna ignore.
We're gonna ignore it because he won.
Oh, man, that worked out with Baker Mayfield, right? You know, let's just ignore the interceptions. Let's just ignore them.
Hey, he ain't do too much winning towards the end.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Hey, look, you take out that one win in the playoffs, and that looks very familiar.
Then they don't have to face Burrow at home week 12. And then later it's at home again. They get Lamar Jackson. It all got spaced out. In the other 13 games, they have a decided quarterback advantage.
Hey, yo, he's saying like this guy's spaced out. Am I tripping? Am I tripping, man, right now? Because I see the Bengals, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson 3 weeks in a row.
So my thing is this. When are we going to get to the point where we stop acting like Deshaun Watson's not a good quarterback? Like, are we ever gonna get to that point where we're like, hey, he's good, and he's not somebody that you can over. I get all the allegations and all of that. I'm not saying we say this all the time. Not saying you gotta like the man, not saying you gotta support him as a human being, as a person. Completely understand, not arguing with anybody with that. But what point in time are we gonna stop acting like he's not a good quarterback?
I don't know why they act like he's Kirk Cousins. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, he just glossed over it. He didn't even mention it. But the whole point is, like, oh, look at these quarterbacks he doesn't have to play. I see Pat Mahomes. He mentioned that. I see Josh Allen. He mentioned that, right? And then you see Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, back to back to back. They don't look very spaced out to me. And then let's not forget, San Francisco's not a bad football team. Like, you know, Pittsburgh,
a pretty good football team in San Francisco. To be
Pittsburgh, not a bad football team. Now, granted, the Jaguars seem to have their number for whatever reason, but they're pretty good. So I kind of see what Colin's getting at here, but also, like, why are we acting like the Browns don't have a quarterback that, you know, I'm not saying you got to be like, oh, you got to watch out for Deshaun Watson at this point, but I am saying you got to mention it, right? Like, hey, if Deshaun Watson gets back to form, he'll be good. But, you know, if he's not, then this could be a fortunate break for him. You know, just add it into your commentary. That's all I'm saying, right?
That's all I'm saying. You can mention it, you know.
3 of them at home, 1 in a neutral field. Okay, but we knew that before the schedule came out. It's very hard to beat great quarterbacks in their stadium or in succession, week after week after week. The Jags don't. They never face one on the road, and they don't have to face them. They're all
at Cleveland
spaced out. What about Kansas City? No, didn't work that way. Chiefs did not get a scheduling break from October 1st to November 20th. 7 weeks in a row. It is a gauntlet. At Aaron Rodgers, at Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton on a
dog. Okay, dog. We gonna throw Aaron Rodgers,
bro.
Come on, Russell Wilson. Did he just throw Russell Wilson in there?
We talk about Russell Wilson, but you don't mention Deshaun Watson.
He can't mention Deshaun because it destroys his whole point. That's why he's not mentioning that, right? Oh my God, he's about to mention Tua and he's about to mention Jalen Hurts. Like, Yes, this is what he's doing right now. He mentioned 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming out the darkness.
Hey, bro. Russell Wilson was so much worse than Deshaun was. Like,
Kirk Cousins. Cole, he mentioned Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Russell Wilson. Justin Herbert, that's fine. And he about to mention Tua.
Hey, bro, that's funny. Like,
that's
funny.
All right, man. He's at work. You know what I mean? Like, he's not serious. He's at work, right?
He's
like
at work, man. I can't get it. I understand. I see the vision. I get it.
On a short week at home. Then you get the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Then it's back to Denver and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Then it's...
He's doing so much work right now. It's like that picture of that boy with the dog, and he trying so hard to make it look vicious.
Bro, nobody worried about Russell Wilson right now, dog.
Back to back, short week, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Like we ain't hear the other part. Like, no, let's run it back. Let's run it back, Colin. Let's run it back, man. Let's run it back.
7 weeks in a row. It is
7 weeks in a row.
At Aaron Rodgers, at Kirk Cousins,
Russell
Wilson and Sean Payton on a short week at home.
He's doing so much work.
I know Sean told him to say that. I know Sean told you to say that.
Hey, like, I'm not saying the Broncos can't be good, but the idea that you're going to leave the Browns out of it because of Deshaun Watson, but not mention Russell Wilson obviously having struggled last year.
Twice, like he was hard or something.
And then, like, the audacity to throw Kirk Cousins' name in there and say Garland. Like, if you can't get the bye week in the NFC, the best thing you can do is be the team that plays the Vikings. Okay? Like, that's because you ain't even got to play. Kirk gonna give you the game.
Then you get the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Then it's back to Denver and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Then it's Miami and Tua in Frankfurt.
Miami and Tua.
So I'm not gonna disrespect Tua. I'm not gonna disrespect Tua. I think Tua is good. I think Tua is good when he's healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Tua's awesome when he's healthy.
I have health concerns with Tua at this point. I don't think he's a bad quarterback when he's healthy. Actually, I think he's pretty good.
When Tua is playing at his best, he's like a little bit better than Teddy Bridgewater.
I disagree.
Am I wrong?
I disagree.
What does he do that's significantly better than Teddy Bridgewater?
I was gonna say, you know, he can throw a little bit farther than Teddy, but that ain't saying too much.
No. No. I feel like they're both hitting the 50-yard line. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're both hitting the 50 at the pro day, you know?
I do think that Tua's a little bit better than Teddy, though.
Tua's a little bit more. Yeah, he's a little bit. Like, I think he's a little bit better than him. But, like, let me tell you, if Tua got hurt and I felt like the Dolphins would have won with Tua, I don't think my prediction changes with Teddy. I don't.
My prediction changes with Teddy.
It's the brand name of Tua. You know, we think of Tua as a first-round pick. We think of Teddy as a journeyman, but yeah, I would like to see what the Dolphins would look like if they got Jacoby Brissett in there. I'm not unconvinced that it wouldn't be an upgrade. I'm just saying.
This is why people call you a hater. This is why people call
I'm not a hater. I just really believe in Jacoby Brissett. How about that? You see, look, one side's haters, another side's optimists. I'm just saying, you know, maybe Tua's not that good. Maybe Jacoby's better than what we think.
Frankfurt, and then it's Jalen Hurts. You're not beating 7 teams in a row like that. When you face a gauntlet of elite quarterbacks, you just
elite quarterback.
I didn't expect that. Yo, he's cooking today.
A gauntlet of elite quarterbacks.
Thank goodness. Hey, man, I want to give a shout out to Colin Cowherd, because if he were out here being himself, man, what would we be out here talking about? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we need to appreciate the Colin Cowherds of the world, because we need somebody out there willing to be ridiculous. You know, elite quarterbacks. And my man said Kirk Cousins. That's disqualifying. All right? Like, that's disqualifying. I don't care how good you think Tua is. You ain't saying he elite. Okay?
He's not elite. He's not an elite quarterback.
And we damn sure ain't saying that about Russ after last year.
Wilson, come on, man. Come on, dog.
You're not going to do it, especially when many of the good ones are on the road. You're not going to do it.
Bro, he said you can't beat this gauntlet. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Jets, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Dolphins. Dog, they can win all them games and get to the bye week undefeated. What are you talking about?
Hey, they should win every single one of them.
I don't see a loss on this schedule up until the bye week. And Colin Cowherd is talking about it as it is the gauntlet. Like, as if you have to fight all of God's champions to get to the bye week. It's what he's talking about this schedule like.
Hey, listen, dog. They legitimately should not lose a game until they play the Eagles.
Let me be fair. The Lions would make a better argument here than the Vikings, who just traded off one of their better players because they're clearly not trying to win right now. Like, the Lions ain't even trying to win their division. And nobody's good at that division. Like, nah. Come on.
This is crazy.
This is insane that he says this. This is insane. Like, this is the stuff that makes me think you need a license to carry a microphone. Like, we need to do background checks. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be able to just go to Walmart and buy a microphone. We need background checks, dog. This is insane. This is insane.
It's like Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson.
You hear that stretch? Like, meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence has a stretch against the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens 3 weeks in a row. And he ain't said nothing about that. Like,
Dog.
He said he don't play an elite quarterback on the road. When he called Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson elite. Okay, so you're telling me if you're calling Russell Wilson elite, you're doing this off of past status that you believe based on what he's done, he's elite. Okay, cool. And if you're putting Kirk Cousins on and calling him elite, that tells me just how low the bar is. There's no way you can't say Deshaun Watson's elite using what you just used to justify this take with the Chiefs. Like, this is just nonsense, Doc. This is just absolute nonsense.
Again, I'm just waiting for us to get to the point where it's okay for us to mention that Deshaun Watson is a pretty good quarterback. I'm just waiting for it.
Jacksonville doesn't have to face any of them on the road, and they're all spaced out. Also, for Jacksonville, you get Doug Peterson. These free agents now in year 2 are all baked in. This Jacksonville reminds me of Philadelphia last year. Head coach for the Eagles and these Jags is in year 2. The young, promising quarterback for those Eagles and these Jags is in year 3. Both were a surprise playoff team, the Jags last year and the Eagles the year before last year. And both get an easy schedule, the Jags this year and the Eagles last year.
Is he about to say the Jaguars are going to be the Eagles of the AFC this year?
He is putting a target on their back. Like, he is setting the expectations for this football team so much higher than they need to be. Like, so much higher than they need to be. It's honestly not even fair to the Jaguars at this point for him to do this. I mean, I'm being serious. Like, it's. I'm glad they made the playoffs last year. I'm glad they made the playoffs. Glad they won a playoff game. It was great for the fans in Jacksonville. They needed that. Shout out my homie JP Acosta. I know he was down there. He was happy. It was looking ugly in that first. It was looking real ugly in that first half for him, but they came back and won, and it was great. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a good young quarterback, and I think he's going to have a good career. But to say they're going to be the Philadelphia Eagles or comparing them to the Philadelphia Eagles,
how dare they say that?
It's not a good comparison.
How dare they say that when they only have one dude from Georgia on their defensive line? Like, come on now. Like, they don't even got 2. What are you talking about? You got 1. Like, not even the one we all know. Just the one you took, like, what, number 2 overall or number 1? They take him number 1 overall?
They took him number 1 overall.
He's good, though.
He is good.
I don't remember his name, but I remember watching him play and going, oh, yeah, he's going to be really good, you know?
You know what the crazy thing is? He might be, like, the worst of all.
And that's not even saying anything bad about him.
Not saying anything bad about him at all. He just might be the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, they should have drafted Stetson Bennett if they want us to take them serious. They don't got enough.
Eagles become the #1 seed in the NFC, surprising a lot of people. J-Mac, if you recall, was not surprised. J-Mac was on this last summer when he first got on the show. He said, look at Philadelphia's schedule. They're going to be a #1 seed. They don't face a lot of elite quarterbacks. This is the...
Is the schedule why the Eagles were the #1 seed?
No, the Eagles were the #1 seed because the Eagles are good.
Because they're clearly the best team in the NFC. They're clearly the best team. Like,
not even close.
See, this is why I hate the schedule, man. This is why I hate it. We talk about the NFL schedule as if this is college football every year. Who has a tough schedule? Who doesn't? Dog, the Houston Texans could beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that can happen. That has happened before. Like, this is not Kent State playing Georgia. You know what I mean? This is an NFL team playing another NFL team. You can lose these games. You can win these games. You don't have a specific advantage because your schedule seems light in May. It means nothing. That means nothing, dog. Trevor Lawrence could get hurt. Or somebody important can get hurt. And all of a sudden, that game against the Texans don't look like a layup. But you know who I would be willing to bet on? The schedule's really not going to matter to? The team that has Patrick Mahomes. That's the team that I'm willing to bet, like, hey, man, it might not matter who they play. Like, there you have Pat Mahomes, right? But, you know, you heard it from Colin Cowherd. The Jags are going to be the 1 seed in the AFC for the dumbest reasons possible. Like, you know, Colin's getting lazy. You know, he used to weave it in and out to where you couldn't see the obvious bullshit. You know what I mean? But this time he just left it all out for everybody to see. Like, come on, dog. Like, what you doing? Like, you used to hide this better. You used to be more poetic about this. We need to have the conversation, Cole. You know, we talked about Stephen A. We talked about Marcus Spears being your favorite commentator. Is Colin Cowherd washed? I just don't feel like the advanced numbers are supporting his contract anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like he be cooking like he used to. He used to give you the step back headsy and you would bite, but now I'm following that. I'm like, hold on, I got that. Like, I'm not chasing no more on his fakes. Like, what's going on?
Are you saying that Colin Cowherd is 2023 James Harden? He gave you a strong performance here and there. You know, he turned the clock back every now and again, but you know, it ain't there no more.
I think we need to start talking about Colin Cowherd like we talking about Russ, because, like, you know, when's the last time we had a good Colin Cowherd take? You know what I mean? I seen some good Skip tapes. Skip really the Tom Brady of this whole thing. You know, we still got, you know, Pat Mahomes out there, a.k.a. Stephen A. Smith, you know, dropping bombs. He just dropped the legendary one about Julius Randle, called that man the coronavirus. All right? Like,
it's a virus.
All right, regularly dropping cross-sport dropping bombs. But, like, when's the last time we shut down and was like, yo, man, we got to hear what Colin Cowherd got to say? He ain't got it like that no more. That jumper ain't hitting like it used to. You know what I mean? It's like watching Zeke Elliott run the football. It's like, oh, man, I remember what it used to look like. It don't look like that no more.
You know what?
Has he lost his step?
You know what I just realized? You know who Colin missed? Colin misses Baker Mayfield.
You know what I mean? He was in the zone. Look.
2018
Colin Cowherd.
Listen. Bars.
He was hitting. He was getting us every time, boy. Curveball. We was slinging everything. Like, you know what I mean? He had the bag back then. Deep bag. This Colin Cowherd, though, I don't know, man. He got his contract, you know what I mean? Like, it don't seem like he working no more. You know, does he really love sports talk?
He don't love the game no more?
Does he love sports talk, or does he love what sports talk has brung him? You know what I mean? Like, you know, he needs to have this serious conversation with himself, because this don't seem like the same level of work that Colin used to put in. I'm used to a higher level of critique with him. You know, I used to have to break it down in charts to explain why Colin Cowherds wrong. He put his evidence up there on screen himself. Like, come on, dog. What's going on? What's going on? Maybe this is just sloppy spring form. You know what I mean? We'll see what he's cooking up during the football season. But right now, you know, might be time for homie to retire. you know, before they start putting him on FS1.
Don't put my dog on FS1, man. I ain't trying to see him all day.
We need 3 more Skip Bayless shows because he's actually scoring the ball. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Who put up buckets? Who put up buckets on FS1? Nick Wright put up more buckets than him right now.
Hey,
come on.
Hey, listen. Colin ain't careful. Draymond gonna take that job.
Draymond already. They work together closely. You know what I mean?
Better be careful.
Hey.